This is Andy Lipton, and welcome to Leading the Break. Today, we have a new segment in our series, The Big Assist, Athletes Helping Others. I'm pleased to say that our guest today is Jasmine Thomas, an assistant coach with the Dallas Wings of the WNBA and a recently retired WNBA player. Thanks for doing this.
Yeah, no problem.
Really appreciate it. Looking over your background, you've done so many communal and charitable things. It's certainly part of your DNA, and honestly, it's inspiring. So let's begin with something where I think is probably dear to you. It's kind of personal. The work that you've been doing in terms of breast health awareness, breast cancer. You've been involved in the K. Yao Cancer Fund. You've been involved in the WNBA breast health awareness.
Yeah.
Talk about the stuff you've been doing and that you've done with respect to that.
It just kind of started, like you said, with the personal connection. My mom is a breast cancer survivor, and I have several women in my family who have battled the disease. Some we lost, and some who are also survivors. So for me, it started off as just like early detection, right? And me doing the things that I needed to do in order to, be on top of my health because of my mom's history. And then from that came the partnership with the KL Cancer Fund. We were able to develop a relationship with the WNBPA, our Players Association for the players, while I was still playing, and through that we were able to get some activations, raise a lot of money, donate back to the fund. They support women in underserved communities, which is also something that I'm really passionate about. So I've just became an ambassador and have continued my work with them forever.
And you've helped raise funds, right? You've had events and stuff?
Yeah, I've had events, done sneaker balls, I've done just online kind of walk runs, which we did during the bubble, where you were able to just stay isolated and donate and to get your miles in on your own. We've been able to do just all kinds of things, pledges. There's so many, when you get into fundraising, it can be overwhelming, especially as a player, but people want to support us. They believe in what we're doing, especially when it comes to something like cancer that affects everybody. There's probably not a person on this planet that does not know anybody that's been affected by the disease. So just being able to raise awareness for men, for women, for everybody, and do it collectively, that is part of what KYAL stood for, is community and being a servant leader. So I just try to do my part.
So what is how does the fund actually use the funds that they get?
Yeah, so they operate in North Carolina, so that's where they are. Obviously, that was where my connection was. I was at NC State, I was at Duke. I remember my play for K games when I was in college, our pink games. But now they're able to spread out of North Carolina. So if you can raise, I believe now it's up to $100,000 in your market, whatever city that is, that money can be used in that community now. So they have grown in so many ways, and it's incredible, and it really aligns with the WNBA, right? Like if we can get players in their respective markets to be able to raise funds, raise awareness, activate, whether it's with hospitals or women's centers in their cities, then we can give that money directly back to those communities.
So it's basically support services as opposed to research?
Yes, it's definitely research.
Okay.
That's always going to be an ongoing thing, but it's also support services. So being able to help people get mammograms, help them continued care, help them with, maybe whether it's, short-term things that they need for their families to be able to travel and housing. It's just helping them get treatment.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. You've done tons of stuff, right? So you did something when you were with the Sun in terms of sharing sneakers. Getting people to donate, sharing shoes.
Yeah.
Okay, talk about that.
So sharing shoes, two boys that went to Paul VI High School, which is in Fairfax, Virginia. Well, I think it might have moved now, but that's where I'm from. So they had started an organization where they were, collecting shoes. People could donate them, and then they would distribute them to kids that needed them. So I kind of we got some boxes from them. We set them up at the arena, and then throughout the season, people could come in, donate shoes, drop them in the boxes. My teammates also, at the end of the season, we were able to have these, big boxes of donations and just send them off at the end. And so for me, that was pretty cool because it was two kids that came from where I'm from.
Nice, nice.
Yeah.
And then you're also part of a foundation, the Good Game Foundation.
Good Game Foundation.
What's that all about?
So Good Game Foundation is kind of like that liaison, right? Like they are trying to help other nonprofits in areas that are either getting off the ground, they're starting, just kind of be able to provide funds for them, whether it's small grants. It's a very small foundation that's definitely in the starting stages, but I work with a guy named Adam Miller to be able to use other athletes in their respective sports to be able to kind of target organizations in their cities to be able to try to help and provide resources for them to be able to operate.
Have you made recommendations as to any organizations yet?
I've tried. I've moved around a lot. So in the time that I started working with Adam, I've moved around so much.
Okay.
I've been at Duke for rehab. I was in Connecticut. I was in LA. Now I'm in Dallas. So I definitely am still working to find an organization that I can actually be connected with and sustain that relationship. But it's a work in progress. So it's been cool.
And then when you were at Duke, man, you were involved in tons of stuff at Duke, right? A reading program, a mentoring program, visiting the Duke Hospital,
Yeah.
the Ronald McDonald House, a mentoring program. Talk about some of the things that really stood out to you in terms of the community involvement when you were at Duke.
Yeah, I mean, the mentoring program was special. I think it's something they still do now. It's basically student athletes leading student athletes, right? Being a resource for them as they navigate through that space. It's a big transition going from high school to college, and the demand is just so much different. I can't even imagine what the demand is now in that space with NIL. So that was always cool for me because you could build relationships with other student athletes. You'd support each other going through their games, and, you know, it just built this very tight family community. And then I will always remember Ronald McDonald House. I think that was the coolest thing. I was a McDonald's All-American in high school, so that was my first experience with it. And then when I got to Duke, we had a Ronald McDonald House near or on campus to some extent, so we were able to kind of spend time with them, be able to see the families and just uplift them, right? Like they're going through hard times and they're fans of ours, and knowing that we are supporting them, that we want to encourage them and be there to support them through their journey. It just was our small piece that we could do to provide some light for them.
That's so nice. You visited the Duke Hospital?
Definitely visited Duke Hospital. That was something that we did every year. I know back in high school, so my coach, Fred Priester from high school, he works with Special Olympics, so we always did that as well,
Really?
even when I was in high school. Yeah.
Like what kind of stuff did you do?
You just kind of host a game for them. You let them, be able to play, and you get to coach and support them and teach them. I actually was able to have a really cool experience with the Dallas Wings. We have a unified game, which also works with Special Olympics. So it was nostalgic for me because it's been a while since I've been able to kind of give back in that way. But it was cool to just watch them actually come out onto the court. They got announced, our coaches, our players, they ran the whole thing. They coached, they refereed, they commentated. So it was a really fun experience.
So what inspired you? I mean, at what age was there sort of a seminal moment where you say, hey, I want to start helping people? Or was it your parents? Was it, was it a coach? Like how did it kind of develop in you?
I think it's definitely just kind of who I am as a person. I feel like I've always been someone that loved community, that loved being able to help others. It was rewarding for me, and I felt like that was where my purpose was. Like it wasn't about what I could do for myself, but how I could influence other people. So once I got older and realized how to actually make those impacts in different ways, and it's been different at every stage of my life, I think it's just something that I became passionate about and leaned into. My parents are super supportive, and they are, big in serving. So
it seems like it's so much of who you are, really. I mean, all the stuff you've done.
Yeah.
I mean, it's very inspiring.
Thank you. It's unfortunate, so I'm missing the golf tournament. KL Cancer Fund has their golf tournament this weekend, and I'm not there. It just passed, but that is something in the future that I would love to be able to attend consistently. It's like one of their biggest fundraisers. It's a great time, and I've never been able to go, so hopefully I'll be able to do that. But then really just engaging our players with the fund. So we had Kalani Brown doing a season-long fundraiser for the fund.
Oh, nice.
And kind of using my experience to make that connection. That's what I'm trying to do now, is in my role empower our players to be able to still also give back.
Gotcha.
I just appreciate you doing this piece.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah.
Well, it's inspiring to talk to people like you, honestly.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Chad.
Yeah, you're welcome.